Embrace your love of colors. I pulled it out and started over. Why are there so many needles and a little tree gumball thing in my knitting bag? I'm about halfway through my first sleeve. Ta-da! Ta-da! Hi folks, welcome to Tangled Together. I'm Dawn. I'm a work from home mom, gamer, geek, knitter, and all of these things kind of get all tangled together, and that's what I chat about here on this channel. So I thought I'd just do kind of a knitting update, show you what I've been working on, my first finished project of the year, as well as some little spoilers for the future projects that I hopefully will be working on. Nope, that's my kid singing along to Baby Shark. Baby Shark has invaded my day-to-day life. I can't tell you how many times I've just been sitting there like knitting, and suddenly I'm like, knitting shark do 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 do, knitting shark do 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 do, knitting. No, I'm sorry for putting that earworm in your ears. Sorry. Let's start off with the first thing that I have finished of the year. Ta-da! I'm calling this my 10-day sweater. It is a Monday sweater that I made for my daughter. So this is the Monday sweater by Petite Knit. It is made in KNC cotton. Oh, let me double check what it's made in. Yay, Rabbit. Get Rabbit for your phone so you can access Ravelry from anywhere. So I made this in the KNC organic cotton in Santa Fe. I like the color of these kind of warm pinks and oranges and yellows, but then there's this like fun streak of blue, and there's like a little tiny bits of lilac down here. So this sleeve I think actually picked up, I think blends better with the body of the sweater. I think just where I picked up the yarn on the ball matched the way the color worked, did a little bit better than this one, because you got this chunk of blue down here that doesn't line up quite as well as this one lines up with the bottom of that. Honestly, it doesn't bother me that much, and when she's running around wearing this, you don't really notice it, but I do think it's something that I'm definitely going to keep in mind if I do use variegated or especially self-striping yarn for a sweater, of like pay attention to where that kind of picking up the sleeves or where in the ball, if I need to add another ball, make sure I'm kind of adding it in a spot that is going to blend well into the next ball. And I know there are some suggestions of like doing like every other row when you're using some variegated yarn, or especially hand-dyed yarn, which can have a little bit more variation between the individual hanks. But this turned out kind of perfect. This was so fast. I wanted to try out just a simple stockinette sweater pattern for my kid, because I figured like that's something that's easy to show off some fun colored yarn, or I can pretty easily like add maybe a color work like streak across the chest in cool patterns or down at the hem. And I'd heard a lot of good things about the Monday pattern. I've done a couple Petite Knit patterns and really enjoyed the way that she writes up the patterns. And so I did this, wanted to do, it's a top-down raglan sweater, so very easy to follow. I like this kind of nice raglan band here, nice thick folded over neckband. Let's give you some close-ups of this. Might be a little blown out, but I'll throw in a couple of pictures of it as well. And honestly, this was so much fun to knit. I normally would not have knit this so fast, but the part of the week that I knit this up, I had taken off. I needed to use up some PTO, because as a work from home mom, like we haven't really planned any vacations. I'm lucky to be flexible enough where like I can kind of say like, hey, I have a doctor's day in the middle of the day. I'll work an extra hour in the evening, or I'll work an hour earlier in the morning to kind of make up for it. So I just haven't needed to take a lot of PTO off. And my kid has also been less sick. Now I'm saying that, and I'm just now getting over a cold, flu, some bug that my kid had, and then of course passed it on to me. But I had taken this week off with kind of the idea of like, okay, well, we can go do some stuff around town and I'm going to get some things done around the house. And then it was so cold and then it snowed. So we were kind of stuck at home a lot more than I anticipated. We went and played in the snow a lot, but it also meant that I had lots of time for knitting during naps and even like during the day when it was like, okay, great. She wants to go play with play sand. And that's something that I just need to kind of like hang out and supervise, but I don't like actually actively need to be involved in this. I can sit and knit and watch and be chatting with her. I definitely will be knitting more of these Monday sweaters for her. I love that the sizing goes from like 1 year all the way up through like teenage sizes. So potentially I could make like a Monday sweater for her every year. Of course, it will take longer to finish every year as she grows and I have more to knit. So that's my first finished object of the year. I honestly was not really expecting to have that finished object, and that was like a little bit of an impulsive, like I needed a break from my current project and wanted something just kind of quick and rewarding in the way that toddler sweaters are. So my current project, I had taken a break from because I had reached the end of the body and was ready to pick up the sleeves. And so let me pull that out. Oh, I had this at the playground and my kid put lichen and a little tree gumball thing in my knitting bag. There we go. She meant to put those on the altar when we got home, and I forgot they were in there. But my current project is still the storm sweater, but excuse all of the loose ends. I, haven't woven anything in. But there you can see, like, look, it's a sweater. It might look short because I did do it cropped. I stopped basically 2 pattern sections before the pattern actually called to stop. I had seen another one that was cropped and I really like that. And I'm about halfway through my first sleeve. Ta-da! This is knitting up really nicely. I did have to pull out like as far as I've gotten of the sleeve. I have done this part twice now because I got to the like diamond patterns and was going around and was like, this isn't lining up. Why isn't this lining up? And I stopped and counted the stitches and I realized I'd picked up 4 extra stitches when I was casting on at the beginning. I think what I did was I picked up stitches along the edge of the back and front and counted those. And then I also picked up the stitches for the underarm, which is 4 stitches, but I forgot to count those 4 stitches in either the front or back section that I had picked up. So I just had 4 too many and the pattern wasn't lining up. And I thought about like, is 4 stitches off enough that I just leave it? But I was like, I know this is going to be here and it's going to bother me. And it's not like one of those like, oh, I flipped a cable wrong at some point, where it's like not super noticeable or it's just one spot. Like this is going to be the whole sleeve is going to be off. So I pulled it out and started over. But luckily it was only half the sleeve and the sleeves go pretty quick. You might be like, why are there so many needles? I have never been a huge fan of the magic loop. I don't know if it's just the needles I'm using don't have a like flexible enough cable to it or I'm not using long enough. And so I actually knit with like 2 sets of needles. I find that works just fine. I started doing that with socks and really liked it. So that's kind of what I do. It does mean that there are like 4 needles sticking out of my sleeve. I'm hoping to finish this sleeve in the next week and then get the second sleeve done maybe in a week and a half, 2 weeks. So hopefully by like mid-February, mid to late February, I'll be able to block this and wear this. So I can wear it before it actually gets too warm to wear this, because this is out of a worsted weight. So it's going to be a little bit warmer than maybe the pattern necessarily calls for. But I'm so excited. I think it's going to be a gorgeous color, especially when it's all blocked out and in the like pattern really shows itself, and especially in the sunlight. Ooh, in the sunlight, this is really good. I'll throw up a picture of it in the sunlight. Our artificial light just doesn't get all of the colors that's in this yarn. And if you're interested, this is all Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. This is the worsted weight superwash, and I am now a Knit Picks ambassador, so you can use my special code to get 15% off. So go check that out. I'm knitting the sweater with Knit Picks yarn, with Knit Picks needles, and I have a bag that I got from Knit Picks a couple years ago. It says coffee, knit, sleep, repeat. I used to have a mug with the same thing on it, but sadly it got like knocked over or dropped and had a crack form in it. So it had to go, it just got trashed because it did not hold water or coffee anymore. I found that out the hard way. Okay, now let's talk about some future plans. So I shared a little bit of this in my 2024 knits and 2025 plans, but I am going to be knitting up the cat knit sweater. That is going to be the next sweater that I knit for myself. And I did the gauge swatch for it. It's so, I love this yarn. It's coming across a little bit pinker. This is Knitting for Olive in Plum Rose. I think it's got like such a delicate, like nice drape and movement to it. I love the color. And then the cat motif is going to be in white. So I think that's going to like stand out really nice. It's going to be a nice like feminine touch, and a fingering weight sweater, which I don't have any fingering weight sweaters, so something I can wear for longer since I am in a warmer climate. So yeah, let's get a kind of close up of that. You can see. And this is pretty much to gauge. I think I'm like maybe 1/8 of an inch off gauge, but I also didn't like fully pin my swatch out. I just couldn't find my pins when I was wanting to block it out the other night. So I think it will get there. And also I'm going to knit. There's one size that would give me 1 inch of positive ease, but I think I'm going to go for the next size up, which gives me about 4 inches of positive ease, which I think that is just going to look a little bit nicer on my frame, as well as be a little bit forgiving if the gauge is a little bit on the tight side. So I'm excited to, once I'm done with my storm sweater, cast on for that, because I'm going to try and only have 1 sweater for me on the needles. And then I went to the Mother of Yarns opening with a couple of folks I know from my local knitting group, Hooks and Hops. And we checked out the new yarn store. It's gorgeous. If you're in Hampton Roads, definitely check out Mother of Yarns. I love how bright and open the shop is. There's so much natural light. The yarn selection seems really nice. I like that there's a nice little seating area, and they even had like a little train set and some coloring pages for kids. So like if I decide to go on the weekend or during the day and take my daughter with me, like there's potentially something to help keep her occupied other than just touching all of the yarn and talking about all of the colors of the yarn while I shop and look at stuff. So I think that's a super great touch. And I haven't actually met and chatted with the owner of the store, but those kind of touches makes me think that it's like, you're a mom, you know. But while I was there, I picked up this yarn for I think I'm going to do a viola tee for my daughter in this. So let's see if you can see. Just like some fun, bright, somebody said, like, I'm not going to lose her on the playground in this. So it is Malabrigo Ultimate Sock, which is a 75% merino superwash and 25% nylon. So I figure for a t-shirt for her, I think that's going to hold up pretty well. It's going to be washable. You know, this is something that you're not really supposed to dry it, but for a t-shirt, I think that's going to dry pretty quickly, even just lay flat. And really fun chance to work with some fun, bright colors. That's something that, like, I'm enjoying. She does seem to enjoy some of these, like, bolder colors that I wouldn't necessarily wear. So it's fun to have something, somebody that I can knit these fun colors for. And just be like, yeah, kid, embrace your love of colors. And then I'm also planning on, maybe this weekend, I'm going to order some more yarn from Knit Picks, probably some sock yarn, because my mom has requested another pair of socks. I had knit her a pair of socks several years ago for the holidays, and she apparently has been wearing them as her, like, sleep socks. And so they have lasted longer than I necessarily expected, but they are apparently starting to slowly deteriorate. So she asked for another pair, and I'm so happy that they were getting such good use. And yeah, I'm thinking I might go with I don't know. I'll leave it up for a surprise. But I've used Knit Picks sock yarn before, and I think Hawthorne especially is really good. I also have enjoyed using Stroll. So yeah, I'll probably end up using one or the other of those, and there are a couple different colorways. I've been kind of trying to decide which one I want to do. So I'll definitely keep you updated on that. I'd love to know, what are you working on? What's on your needles or hooks? Or, you know, what are you sewing? And, like, you know, are you a parent trying to find time to knit? How do you find time to knit? Because some days it's like, great, you're going to go off and do your own thing. Awesome. I'll sit here and kind of supervise and knit. And other days it's like, you just want to be on top of me and have me doing every single moment of your day with you, which is wonderful and lovely. I love those moments. And also I have moments where I'm like, can I have some physical space, please? It's just the wonderfulness of being a parent. Whee! If you want to see more of my face and hear me talk about the gaming side of things a little bit more, make sure you go check out my original channel, Roll for Initiative, where my husband and I make videos all about tabletop RPGs and board games and other geeky stuff. Yeah, I'd love to know what you are working on. Are you excited about anything? Have you made any of the projects that I made? Are you making a catnip? Are you one of the catnip? Are you making a catnip sweater like so many other people are? I'd love to know what colors you chose for that. Just, you know, let's chat in the comments, and I will see you next time on Tangled Together. Right, bye.